actress too. I mean, you believed it. The lines came naturally. You weren't even thinking there was dialogue. She just let it flow, and you didn't feel like she was putting it on you.
All right, thank you for downloading and listening to this new edition of Buscando Problemas podcast. This is an interview podcast. My name is Jorge Rivera. You also may know me by L. George, whatever you want. I'm glad, I'm happy, I'm privileged to have this episode interview. This is my second English language episode, and I'm so happy that is with Hannah Feirman. Did I say that? I forgot to ask you how to say it correctly. Hannah Feirman,
Yeah,
right?
you said it correctly. Yep.
Thank you. Thank you very much for saying that. And Hannah Feirman is an amazing actress, and she's been in the industry for some years now. And a couple of years ago, you kind of jump up to fame, especially in the horror genre, with a character you played on a segment of a movie called VHS. And we're gonna get to that a little bit later. But first of all, how are you doing today, Anna?
I'm good. I'm super chill. It's a rainy day, and I'm just hanging out in my pajamas.
All right, awesome. So you're still based on Atlanta, right?
Yeah,
You're talking.
I am predominantly, but I've been shooting all over of the past 2 years. But yep.
Right. So how is quarantine going on there? Are they still being very strict with the quarantine rules?
You know what? In Georgia, they're really not very strict at all. But when I shot in Maine, they were very strict, and I think that's why they've done such a good job of tempering it. Like you have to wear a mask when you're in public at all times, even if you're on your own walking down the street. But yeah, in Georgia, it's been pretty relaxed. Which obviously isn't ideal. But I've been able to shoot 2 TV shows during the pandemic here, and they just take your temperature and have you tested every 3 days, and you know hope for the
Is it
best.
is it the blood test or just they'll make you do the swab test every 3 days?
It's the nose
Oh man, you're getting that nose test every 3 days?
all the time. It's crazy. Yeah,
Oh
my
wow.
yeah. I know the inside of my nose very well now.
Oh my god. Yeah, like I had the test done like 2 weeks ago because I have a little bit of scare,
Um,
and it was terrible. It was like one of the worst experiences of my life.
oh
But
my
I guess
gosh.
yeah, but I guess that's what you have to do when you do the thing you love. So you were born in England, but you came to the U.S. when you were very little. I did a little bit of research, listened to some other interviews. So you came to England. Do you remember a little bit of England back? You were very young, like 3 years old, right? But you still remember something?
Yeah, well, we would go back and visit a lot. So
Okay.
obviously, I don't have any memories of England from when I was 3, but I do remember the move, and yeah, we used to spend our summers there a lot because my mom's side all still live there, and I love England. I love the rainy weather. I am not a California girl. Like I don't like constant sunshine. I like
Yeah.
dreary weather.
I get that perfectly. Like right now, I live in a tropical island, Puerto Rico, which is basically summer the whole year. But I actually like this kind of weather we having right now, just like the one you said, which is rainy and a lot of clouds. I like that. It's more comfortable, so I get that. Um, so you actually lost your accent, right? It was a voluntary thing, like you said, I'm gonna lose my English accent.
Yeah. Yeah, I did it intentionally. I remember speaking one way at home and another way at school.
Does it ever go comes back when like if you go to England to visit family or for work? Does it ever come back? Like you find yourself talking with the English accent a little bit when you're there?
I do. And evidently when I get mad. Yeah.
That's pretty.
If my exes would be like, "Uh-oh, she's getting English."
Okay,
She's
so
I'm
that's
in
like the
trouble.
alarm, right?
Yeah.
That's the
Ev-
alarm.
Evidently, I don't hear it. I don't hear myself do it, but yeah, I've been told.
Okay, so you also started working on theater and doing some acting work when you were a kid. Was that a school? Did they send you to acting school very early, or that was something from the school you were?
It was something from the school that I was already attending. It was a very arts driven school that I went to when I first came to the U.S. Kind of a hippie art school. They had like puppetry programs and things like that.
That's awesome.
And yeah, it was really it was really great.
Yeah, like I envy you. Like we don't have anything like that here. Like oh my, I wish
Really?
I would have. Yeah, we don't really do that much. It's like this is a place where they're really classic in terms of school. You know, like English, Spanish, math, science. You know, I did had some extracurricular, but we don't do it at the level that you guys do it in the United States. But let's go back to you. And did you immediately like that? I mean, was that something that really struck to you that this is what I want to do the rest of my life, or did you took it as another more schoolwork, another type of schoolwork?
I decided very young that it was something I wanted to pursue for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Did your parents support you right away, or did they gave you the talk that you have to get a degree first, then you go to school, then you become an actress?
Yeah, both. Like they're very supportive. They're both very artistic people themselves, and my mom was involved in a lot of theater when she was young, and my father's just an amazing storyteller. Um, and but they did insist that I go to a proper university and get a degree, and I'm glad they did because I was extremely immature and I probably needed that that period to grow up and learn a thing or two before I actually started full on pursuing acting. Um, but I did actually do my first feature before college when I was 17, and I was able to do a few projects during that time as well.
What was that feature? What was your first
It
feature?
it was called Crooks with a K, and I don't
Okay.
know if it ever got released. I don't know. I heard a rumor that it was released like, abroad, but I literally have never seen that movie.
Yeah, that happens a lot, right? That you work on a
Yeah.
movie on a project and they never see the lights of day. Like, I was researching your career and I saw this movie Dandelion, and apparently hasn't been released yet.
I don't know if it's going to be. I think they were doing the festival circuit with that. It's a short
Okay.
film, and
Oh, okay. Okay.
it's a really good little movie. I hope you do get to see it. I play a cyborg in it, and that was super fun.
Okay. So, what did you get your degree on?
Communications and economics.
Communication. It's funny because it seems to happen that a lot of artistic person go to a degree and they usually gravitate towards communications, which is something I did and some of my peers did. Did you like that? Did you like getting that degree?
Yeah, I guess so. It was a really broad. There was a lot of there was a lot of classes that were very diverse that I was able to take. Because I could do some theater and PR and public speaking, things like that.
Did something in that degree help you develop your skill, your trade as an actress?
Oh, absolutely. All of my classes helped in some way, even if they weren't acting classes. I think that that's the thing about this career is the more you know, the better actor you are. The more you experience, the better you become.
So let's go to BHS because I know you had a lot of movies and I want to talk about some of them. But BHS obviously that was the one that gets you into the spot. Um, how did that came to be? Like, did you know the director? That was something that you auditioned for and you got it, or do you knew the people in the productions?
I knew the people. I had been wanting to work with David Bruckner for years. I think he's extremely talented, very intuitive director. And you know what? I think, yeah, I don't think I auditioned. Um, he had me do a whole bunch of camera tests and things like that. Yeah. But no, basically he just offered me the role, and at first I was just like, oh wow, that sounds intense. I don't know, but he's such a good he's just he's just such a good storyteller that he just gets you really really excited about it. You know, even if you weren't at first, if you were just like, ah, naked demon, no. Um, David is just, yeah, he's just such a great storyteller that he just gets you excited about whatever he's excited about. He's very like, I don't know, vivacious or gregarious and infectious in a good way.
He's a good he's a good seller. He knows how to
Yeah,
sell the thing he wants to do.
exactly.
Do you think that's something that both actors and director have, that's a gift, or something that both actors or anyone that works in the industry have to develop, the ability to sell what you want to do?
Yeah. Yeah, I think so. I don't really like the word sell because I don't care if you're going to buy it or not, really.
Okay.
It's just like if it yeah, I mean you need to be excited about it. You need to be excited about it. You need to be able to, you know, get other people pumped about the story. So, especially if you're convincing, you know, an actor to play such a gratuitous role, you know, completely nude. Um, like yeah. So yes.
Yeah, I mean, like, yeah. Oh well, this is a role for a demon woman that gets naked, like almost the whole. Like, yeah, I get it. I understand what you're saying. Yeah, you know, you have to know how to sell it in a way.
Yeah.
Um, so the process, did you expect it to get? You done some genre movies, like you have done drama and comedy, and of course horror. Did you watch a lot of horror when you were a kid, when you were young? Did you like to watch
No.
horror movies?
No, I didn't. I got scared way too easy. Um,
You did.
yeah, I got scared watching E.T. I got scared watching The Dark Crystal. You know, like yeah. But I think now um, I've been so submersed within the genre that it no longer frightens me quite as much. Like I was watching the Tenant
Yeah.
last night because my or a couple nights ago because my buddy Damien Maffei wanted me to watch it and wanted to have a conversation about it, and I found myself laughing and I, old me would not have done that. Old me would have been just like
Okay.
completely creeped out, but I was just cracking up. I don't know if you've seen it or if you've seen the ending, but yeah,
I
I was
haven't seen it
laughing in
yet.
it. Okay,
Okay.
watch it and if you crack up at the end, send me an email.
Okay,
Okay.
I will. I will.
Okay. And if you even if you don't, be like, you laughed at that, you sicko.
I like that. Okay, I'll take that. Challenge
Yeah.
accepted.
Okay.
Going back to where you were studying, you had to get a degree, but did you also stay doing taking acting classes or, movie cinema classes?
Yeah. Actually, in the communications department, there were there were theater classes that counted towards the degree and film classes as well.
And now that you have worked professional for some years, what do you feel that that you would have liked to learn back then? Like back when you were a student, you said, okay, they did a good job. Maybe they were good classes, but this is something that people should know when they're studying. They should learn it.
I think that I would have liked to tell my old self not to stress so much, not to worry so much. Um, yeah, I was pretty excitable back in the day, and now I'm just like, eh, you know.
What kind of thing stressed you back then?
Well, I used to, you know, just like if I get an audition, I would just like, you know, really, really just audition the crap out of it. And then, you know, if I didn't, and I still do, but I don't get as excited. It's not as important to me because you know, it's not up to me if I book it or not. I'll do my best and then forget about it.
Okay.
And that's kind of what you have to do as an actor because there's just so many of them and it's so almost completely out of your hands unless you're producing and directing it as well. And there's so many factors that will go into it. You might have had the best audition, but they didn't like your hair, or you might have had the best audition, but this person's cousin is an investor. So there's just so many different factors. So I would go back and I'd tell myself not to beat myself up about it, because it's just completely out of your hands almost.
I usually ask this question at the beginning of my interviews. Kind of forgot, so that's on me. What's the biggest misconception people get when you say that you're an actor?
They think I'm rich. I'm not.
They think you're money. Oh, so you have money.
Yeah, so you're no, I don't have any money.
I get that. And so working on VHS, and which is it's found footage type of film. That was the first. That was your first found footage type.
Yeah.
That was the first time.
Yeah, it was.
What do you think was the biggest difference between one type of film and the classic type of film versus found footage?
Um, well, it breaks the fourth wall, I think, is the biggest difference. Like, I uh, I look directly into the camera and speak directly to the audience, which is an entirely different experience for both parties. Usually, that's the one thing you're not supposed to do is look into the camera lens. You're supposed to just completely ignore it. Um, and I think that a lot of people responded to that really well. And I got a lot of very, very personal fan mail. Um, People just telling me their dreams and their life stories and their fears and their hopes, and just pouring their hearts out to me. And these are people that I've never met. And I'm just like, wow, I think it's because I broke the fourth wall, and maybe made the eye contact, and they felt comfortable sharing this stuff with somebody that they didn't know.
You know, it's interesting you say that because the first time I watched your segment, and I rewatched it again a couple days ago for this interview, and it surprised me how sympathetic Lily shows in the movie. She's basically a literal demon, monster trying to kill men or cure people, but still shows sympathetic. Like the first time they see you on screen, like you call to the camera, like the eyes are drawn to you, and it surprised me how in a way it sounds conflicting, but it's not in some way. It's she seems like someone you want to talk to. Was that a decision that you and the directing took from the beginning? Like we wanted to make her look like someone that people might like immediately, like get
I think,
sympathetic. So
yeah, I definitely wanted to make her sympathetic. I don't think that it was written that way, but I wanted her to be that way because I thought it would be more interesting to watch. Because if everybody's an asshole, then that's boring. And everybody else was an asshole in that movie.
yeah,
And yeah, so I wanted her to have like an innocence, like a misunderstood monster type, um, where you're just like, oh, she's just this is just the nature of who she is. She's not being malicious. She just, she's just a sex demon. That's just what she does. But she's actually, very, very innocent and naive about the world, about
yeah,
that world anyway. Yeah.
it and it felt like she understood a little bit of the social dynamic that was happening there. Like she knew, like she went to the bar because she knew that's where people came or go to have a good time or maybe look for a mate, and she was there like fishing or hunting in a way.
Mhm.
And a little bit, you say it reminds me a little bit of the Frankenstein monster, which is
Mhm.
the whole story that he wasn't inherently evil. He was
Right.
just something that was made that way, and he
Mhm.
he was rejected by everybody. And then
Yeah.
you guys yeah, and then they made Siren, which was a little bit based on that story, and you brought that on. You brought that on, but it wasn't an easy process, right? Someone wanted to recast you.
No, it wasn't. Nobody wanted to recast me.
Okay.
They just made me audition, which was
Okay.
fine. It was just a little weird because it was my character, you know. So I'm like, okay, how me do you want me to be, guys? um, yeah, that was weird. But yeah, they asked me to do it, but they still held auditions. I think that has to do with the production side. They just wanted to make sure that they dotted their i's and crossed their t's.
Okay. So you made other movies, and I have to say to you that I started watching some of your movies, for the research, and I was really impressed by the way that you always look for something to differentiate your character from others. You play Lily, which is, like we said, a literal sex demon. Then you also played the characters on the Unwanted, and I was
Hmm.
watching that movie, and it struck me how different the characters are, because there you play a young woman who is almost like a child. She's being kept a child by her father, who doesn't want her to grow up, and that. So, as you as an actor, what's the process when you sit down, you read the script? What's the process of creating that actor, of giving this a character a different sense of the one that you played of before? What's the creative process? What's the first thing in your creative process?
Well, actually, um, can you hear me?
Yes, yes, I'm sorry.
Okay,
Go ahead.
yeah, I couldn't hear. Um, that character really bounced off the page. Like, she was so nuanced and so layered within the story that I didn't really have to do a whole lot on my own. That was written by Brett Wood, and he writes wonderful, strange, layered, dynamic characters, and I wanted I wanted her also to have an innocence and a sympathetic nature about her because she was the hero, or the anti-hero. Uh, but oh man, that character was just so messed up on so many levels. That's why I got excited about it. You know, I was just like, wow, I can work with this. So yeah, I didn't have to add very much to that, and I like that, and I also like bringing my own vision to it too. So I don't know. Did that answer your question?
No, it's okay. It's a little bit because in this case, with Lily, you wanted to you changed something from the script. Like you took
Right.
what was given to you with the script, and you developed the character. This character was already in the script, and you work with it. And I
Yeah.
was watching Saint Agatha the other day, and
Hmm.
which is that movie freaked me out. Like,
Did
'cause
it really?
I'm yeah, I'm not a real fan of like religious thing. I'm not a
Uh huh.
fan. They really freaked me out. And that movie was really the way it was written, the way it was turned. It was anyway. Sorry. And your character is also again seems a little bit innocent, but in a different way. So I'm really struck by the way that you create a character, even when they're on the same level. Because then you did Little Evil Thing, which you did the segment with the leprechaun puppet,
Hmm.
and which in not necessarily the hero, like your character has something going on there, but you also found a way to make it the difference from other works that you have done. So it is fascinating to me how with little makeup, with all in well, in the case of Lily, there's a special effect, but in the other all the other cases, with very little makeup or very little practical effect, it's you. You work the character, you create these characters, and I can tell you which character is from that movie, maybe because the tone of voice that you do, or the way that you move, the way you look at people, and that's fascinating to me, and I love when I see an actor doing that. So that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to, in general, what's your process to develop a character? What's the first thing you do? How do you do it? How do you turn that into what you do on from the camera?
Well, first I know what I want the viewer to feel. So if I want to make somebody extremely uncomfortable, or if I want them to feel endeared to my character, or if I want them to be terrified of me, or feel that I am maternal, or something like that. So I know my intention. And then if I want to make, like, if I'm playing a supporting role and I can be more quirky, I'll add like nuances of people that I know that remind me of that character. So like okay, like for example, I played this character that was in Good Grief Suicide Hotline. She was just a really terrible person, but I made her more like a mischievous pixie from hell. Like I just kind of went with it, even though that wasn't written. That's just the character that I decided to play, because she was just having so much fun being so bad that it almost seemed like, again, kind of like a second nature. And I gave her a frenetic energy of people that I know that are just like that are like on a metabolic rate that is just above a normal human being, just like, twitchy and hyper, and kind of aggressive, and yeah. So I would base it off people that I knew that the character reminded me of. And yeah, I'm glad you think it works.
No, it does that. And then you do Hold Me. You did Hold
Oh
Me,
yeah.
which was, oh my god, that movie is really, it's the kind of movie that you maybe watch once because it has a sense of energy, and it deals with such a strong theme, which is, the dignified death and the
Yeah.
process that goes into that. How do you compare? Do you feel there's a difference in the making of a movie like Hold Me versus a movie like BHS, which is a little bit more, crazy person, in the sense of how you develop the character, how do you develop the work? How does it change
Oh
when you
yeah.
have to do a movie like so charged like Hold Me when it comes from a movie like VHS?
Yeah, they're completely different. You're absolutely right. So with Hold Me, I was the everyman, basically. With the shorter films or with the supporting roles, you can get more crazy with it. But if you're the everyman, um, you have to play it straight, and let the other characters basically be more interesting than you. Like you're taking them on a journey with you. You are you are not the journey, if that makes sense. So with that, and it was just a serious movie with just such serious content, and my character was just so damn serious, and depressed, and incredibly depressed. So actually taking away energy is what I did versus giving it in most of that movie, except for towards the end. Yeah.
Did you get a lot of feedback or fan mail or of fan feedback from that compared to VHS?
No.
Like if you can tell that if someone talks to you on the street, you can tell if they saw you on one another. Like, is there something that lets you know? Okay, these people know me from this movie, from Hold Me, not from VHS.
Nobody has ever come up to me and been like, "You were Hold Me." Yeah, nobody's ever done
Okay.
that. But people do that with BHS and Siren frequently.
Okay. Well, it surprised me because Hold Me is such a controversial topic, right?
Yeah.
It's a topic that is not always it's not a constant topic in movies, So whenever there's a movie for that, it stucks into the people's view. So that kind of surprised me a little bit, but I guess that that's how it goes. Do you
That's
enjoy
actually
doing?
that
No, go
that's
ahead.
that's my favorite work I've ever done, by the way, is in
Hold.
that movie. Uh-huh.
Yeah, I was really touched by it. But it leaves you with an energy. I don't know if you watch movies like, for example, Grave of the Fireflies. I don't
Oh.
know if you see that movie. Well, it's that kind of movie. That movies
It's
that
heavy. It's
it's
dense.
heavy. That
Yeah.
is, yeah, thank you. That's the word. They're heavy
And
movies.
it doesn't let up either. You know.
No,
There's no relief. It's just
no. Yes, it doesn't give you the yeah, yeah. I didn't think about that, but you're right. They're these are kind of movie like Marriage Story, for example. That kind of movie that they simply doesn't give you any closure, any chance to
Any
feel.
any
Yeah,
relief? Yeah,
no,
it's
at all. It's
yeah,
like
I
okay,
noticed
well
that.
that's it. Have a good day.
Yeah, okay. Yeah. Have fun with your depressed day. Sorry we did that to you.
Yeah. Thank you for
Yeah.
watching our movie. Now go be sad.
Don't shoot yourself. It's not my fault. I know. I know what you mean. I don't actually seek out those kind of serious movies, especially not right now. Like during the pandemic, it's just like I just got to watch cartoons. Like that's all I'm watching besides horror movies. Is like Adventure Time. It's like that's all I can handle right now.
I
It's
get.
just like no. I'll turn off
I
the
understand.
radio.
That's okay.
Yeah.
I get you perfectly because I also do that a little bit. Like sometimes I get out of work or something, and if I'm alone, I just start watching all sitcoms and make me laugh. You know, I get
Yeah.
you, or all cartoons. So I get you perfectly. This is time for it. This is time to revisit something that makes you happy. And how do you feel about horror now that you basically work so many, you have worked the genre, and you told me a little bit earlier that now you're watching horror movies with a different in a different way, with a different perspective. Now that you
Yeah.
watch horror movies, is there something that besides what you're telling me, but now you know what goes on backstage, the whole
Yeah.
process that when you see something get attacked or something, how do you how does it change you? Because for example, like I've been doing podcasts for 6 years now, so whenever I
Oh
hear
wow.
podcasts, I kind of recognize some things
Hmm.
that if the conversation is going one way or the other, or if the person did his research or not, that kind of thing you can recognize now. So now that you work horror for some time, what do you recognize when you watch other works of horror?
Um. Well, that's an unfortunate element of working within the industry is that you do not enjoy movies as much as you used to. Like you notice when like, the lighting is not right. Like I don't know. I was watching this TV show what was it called? The Queen's Gambit. And then
Okay.
and then and suddenly and suddenly she steps outside and it's completely blasted out and it seems like a completely different cinematographer than and it probably was. I don't know, I didn't go back and look, and it's just like that takes me out of it, whereas back before I was making a whole lot, um I probably would not have noticed that. um I just I the thing about horror is that the thing that I appreciate most about horror is that it's a very flexible genre. Like there are so many different types of horror movies, and the horror community is very accepting of all of them. They're going to give it a shot as long as it scares them or makes them uncomfortable. As long as they have like some sort of visceral response to it, they're going to like it, whether or not it's multi million dollar movie or like a super low budget one like VHS. They're just like they appreciate the story, and they let people be creative within the genre more so than in other genres. Like I just feel like other genres are less flexible.
You also did some TV. You were on the Vampire Diaries. I didn't watch
Mm.
that show, so. But what would you if someone asked you, some other actor was gonna do their first TV show? What would you advice would be? What would you let them know to know how to work in doing TV show versus doing movies?
Oh, well, TV works way, way faster. So you need to be prepared for absolutely everything and anything, and you need to be ready to do it quickly. Like with indie filmmaking, it's more of an artistic process. It's slow, it's meandering, versus TV where you're just like go, and then you're out. You don't have time to create a relationship with your coworkers. Not really. It's just like, hey, sit down, make out with that actor. Okay, cut. You can go home now. And it's just like,
Okay.
bye.
Yeah. Here's the script. This is the place where you jump off. Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. And then you're just like, oh, okay. I'm useless now. Okay.
Okay. Will you rather be will you rather have a TV career, like will you have a TV show, or you rather stay making movies?
Well, it really depends on the TV show. But I prefer making movies, but there are some TV shows that are fun. And like I just got off two different episodes of Creep Show, and I had a
Oh, I
blast.
have to
And
watch that. I love that show. I love it.
yeah,
Sorry, go ahead.
one comes out in April, and I don't know when the other season is going to be out, but I think you'll like them. Yeah. Okay, so working with those guys, definitely.
Okay.
Yeah, it was just such a relaxed group of artists, and the scripts were just so creative and so much fun, like a Black Mirror for horror fans.
Okay. You already sold it. Stop. You already sold it. I'm watching it. No, but I love that show, and like you said, um, it is you are completely right about how horror works so differently of from other genre. And Creepshow, for example, like I watched their holiday special and I loved it. I loved the holiday special. My wife hated it because she's more of a traditional horror movie type. Like I want to see the slasher, I want to see the monster, and that's it.
Yeah,
She doesn't like the nuances of things like the Creepshow horror movie. And I love that kind of old horror movie that a lot
I
of
do
it's
too.
only happening on indie, on the indie. It's only happening. When it goes to back to mainstream or blockbuster. I mean, they do good movies. I love movies like The Conjuring or
Oh my
Freaky, which
gosh.
is I love those movies. But
I saw Freaky at the drive-in theater, and I was surprised and impressed. Like Vince Vaughn was hilarious. He was
yes,
really good. And so was that little girl. I can't remember her name, the blonde one. I mean, she did a
no, but
great job.
she did an amazing job. One of my favorite horror movies that I've seen in a couple years, Ready or Not. I love the movie. I loved it from
Yeah, it
beginning
was
to
it
end. And I
was
think one of the
it was
guys
really
work
good.
in VHS, right?
Yeah, those are Radio Silence
Radio
is the name of
Silence.
that group. Yeah, they're wonderful filmmakers. They also did Southbound, and I don't know what they're doing now, but Ready or Not was great. Um,
Yeah, I love it. They're doing the Scream movies. The new Scream
oh,
movies. They're working on that.
really cool.
Yeah, yeah. I really like their job, and Ready or Not is amazing.
Yeah,
And that's the kind of and one of the reasons why I like it so much is because it reminds me a little bit of the old horror kind of old school movies.
yeah,
And it has such an amazing sense of humor. And which one
yeah.
of your characters?
The nail,
Yeah,
the
oh
nail,
my
the
god,
nail
oh
gets me.
god, Nelson.
It's so good. Okay.
Oh yeah, I loved it. And
Oh
the
yeah.
whole and he brought the whole the theater. Like I was watching it with a lot. I was watching it at a screening actually, but there was fairly a lot of people there, and he brought the whole
Yeah.
place down. That whole scene.
Yeah. That part.
It's amazing, and the scene when she looks at herself in the mirror with the wedding dress and the sneakers and the gun,
She's
and
just
it's
like,
so
oh my god.
absurd, and I love that movie that doesn't take themselves so serious. They just go with the flow,
Yes.
and I love that movie.
Yes.
And which one of your characters would you like to go back to? Is there a character you play that you miss in a way that I would love to go back and spend some more time on this world or with this inside this person, inside the skin?
Yeah. Yeah. So many. So many. Like all of them almost. But I would love to go back and work with Matt Berry on Toast of London and expand that my role of Honeysuckle. I love doing
What was that?
accents. So I played this character called Honeysuckle on Toast of London,
Okay,
which is a British TV sitcom, and
I love Matt
it's on.
Berry. I
Yeah,
love Matt Berry. Is he a good guy? Please tell me he's a good guy.
he's great. He's great.
Ah, I'm happy. Okay.
Yeah, we're still in touch. Yeah, he's a wonderful writer, especially, and actor. Um, So I would love to work with them again and expand that role and just to see what they would do with it because they're so creative. And I got, I got to do all these accents and I mean, you got to see it. I don't want to spoil it for you, but
But do
I would
you
really like to
did
revisit that.
you? But in this case, you're telling me that you want to go to that character because of the work they're doing, of the work they're doing. But did you want to go back because you like the character? And I want to know if there's a character you want to get the skin back, like go back into her, like be her for a little bit more, give her more life, see more of her life.
Yeah, they're like seriously like almost all of them. Like I don't I love acting. So, yeah. I think I'd like to I'd like to play more comedies. So basically all the comedies that I've done, yes, to all those. All the ones that I think are funny anyway. And I do not particularly want to revisit Lily. Um maybe if it was a really really good script and a really wonderful director, then maybe. But it was just that was too difficult.
Yeah.
Just it was just too hard to do it again,
And
especially
both of them,
a feature.
VHS or Siren? Oh, Siren was harder.
No, both of them were just really difficult, just because of the nudity and because of the night shoots and just because of a lot of things. It was just, yeah, I did that twice. I don't know. I don't know. Yeah,
Okay, yeah, I get it. I get it.
but
Which one
they
of
haven't
your
asked me to. So,
okay? Which one of your characters would you like to hang out with? Like you want to go on a night out and you want to hang out with them. You want to talk to them. You want to meet them as a person.
dude, I'd hang out with Lily all day long. We would have so much fun. She's crazy.
I would.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Yeah, that was. Yeah, I didn't think I was gonna get that answer, but I'm so happy it did.
We'd go
Like,
cruising for dudes. No, I'm just kidding.
yeah, yeah. Like this is my friend Lily, and she's gonna eat you, but you're gonna
She's
like
a
it.
little weird. She likes to
Yeah.
party. It's good.
What about if you could talk to one of your characters and give them advice? If there's one of their characters you feel like, "Ah, I wish you would make this decision, that this particular decision or thing you did it really bought me out. If you were gonna advise some of your characters, which one of them would be, and what advice would you give it to her?
Oh my gosh. It would totally be Laura from The Unwanted. Yeah.
What would
I
you say
would
to her? What you want to talk to Lauren, and what would you advise her?
I would advise her to get some serious therapy. Um
She needed it.
she really needed it. Yeah, and maybe just to get the hell out of town. But then there wouldn't be a story, so it's like,
Well, to be fair,
don't go
everybody
that
in that
way.
movie, yeah, everybody in that movie needed therapy. So to be fair to her,
Yeah, it's true.
so
It was
what did
great
she
working
did?
with William too.
Will
Yeah,
and
what?
Cat, Will and Cat, like working with him. That was an
Yeah.
uncomfortable movie because, in a way, that their relationship it was a little bit icky. It seemed that it was based on love, but then it wasn't that much. So it was an uncomfortable movie to watch in that
Yeah.
sense because again that's a heavy topic. But I like your work in it. And going back to that, why Laura? Why of all the characters that you have done, what does a character needs to do that you makes you worry about her more than others?
Well, she's got a longer way to go. And I tried to make it a good solid arc to where she was better off by the end of the movie and more empowered and spoke more like a woman and behaved more like, a strong, empowered human being versus at the beginning I played her like very childlike and with a slightly higher pitched voice and you know, with a huge amount of fragility. Um, and I still think she has a long way to go. Even by the end of the movie, you know, I don't want to give it away, But even by the end of the movie, she still has a lot of growth to do as a human being in order to be a healthy human being, in my opinion.
So you recently directed your, you started directing a little bit. You did a segment
Hmm.
for Dead by Midnight, right?
I did. I did. Sorry, my phone's doing something weird. Um, and that's not out yet, but I really, really enjoyed that. I worked with Seth Michaels and Marilyn Light and April Billingsley and my producer Sarah Samedi Michaels. And yeah, a whole bunch of wonderful actors. And my DP was Robert Vardaros, and my husband and I wrote it together. I came up with the story, and he wrote the screenplay, and I helped. Um, and that was a blast. I loved it, and I'm really pleased with my segment. I think it's spooky and exactly what I wanted to make, which was a, which was a relief. um, and yeah, and I actually just got through working with Damien Maffei and Felissa Rose and Ryan James. Um, and Elsie Holt on a couple of, well, on my last feature, which was called Time's Up, and then with Felissa and Damien and Elsie Holt on location, which is the one I did just before that. And they've actually just asked me to direct their next feature.
Oh,
So
that's nice. How's it gonna call? Can you say the name? You're allowed to say the name in the next feature.
I don't know yet. I
That's
don't
okay.
know.
Do you know? You don't know the name of the feature, or you don't know if you're allowed to?
I don't know if I'm allowed to. I know the name of the feature.
A little bit harder. I'm sorry, I lost you there.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I no. I know the name of it. I just don't know if I'm
Okay,
allowed to publicize. I'm.
that's okay. No problem at all.
I'll just tell you. It's. I mean. No, I won't. Okay. I'm not. I'm
No,
not going to tell you. Okay.
no, don't worry, don't worry, don't
Yeah. I
worry
don't
at
want to
all.
get in trouble. Okay. Yeah.
No, I don't want to get you in trouble. What did you brought after your career as an actress? You've been acting since you're 3. You're doing a lot. You're doing comedy, drama, horror. You work with a different slate of directors and DPs and all that.
Hmm.
When you're starting directing your own segment, now that you're directing, what do you felt that you brought out from being an actor that makes you different from directors that never acted before?
Oh yeah. Well, I think I'm a better communicator because of it. And yeah. I mean, I've been an
Do
actor
you
so
feel
long that
some other actors? Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
say it again.
No, no. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Interrupted.
Yeah. That's it. I mean, it's interesting because now I'm learning it from the other side, and like when there was times when directors would be like, "Oh, I didn't know you could do that," and I'd be like, "Why'd you hire me then?" What? And then I found myself being like, "Oh, I didn't know they could do that," and now I'm like, "Oh, now I get it. Now I get why they were saying it. It's not a bad thing. It's I'm just thrilled because you're doing something that was unexpected and wonderful." So.
You said that being an actress helped you being a better director because you communicate better. Does that mean that that's something that maybe other director needs to work on the way they communicate or tell things to actors?
Yeah, I'd say that's like 90% of your job is being a good communicator with your actors. Well, yeah. I mean, sometimes you don't have to. Sometimes you just like hire the people and, people you've worked with before and you're like, do your thing. Just do that thing you do and do it, and then you don't really you don't have to get nuanced with them. But if there's something that you're not getting that you specifically need for the story, then you need to be able to talk to the actor and bring it out in them without confusing or frustrating them.
Okay. So now what do you learn from the experience of directing that is gonna help you or is gonna help you now as an actor? Like what do you learn from directing that's gonna go it's gonna be brought to the acting?
Um, I think that sometimes I would avoid talking to my directors too much because they're incredibly busy. looking at everything all the time. They don't have time to, bicker or for anything really. And so I think back in the day I used to just like, if I had a question, I just maybe wouldn't ask it because I just didn't want to bother them. Where now, if it's important to me, I know that it's important to them, and I need to talk to them about it. Yeah.
So going back to a question that I asked you a couple, sometime a little bit earlier. Now that we talk about all this thing, for anyone that wants to go into the acting or producing or directing or the industry in general, what will you be the most important advice that you want them to understand from now? They need to understand now. You want to go into this business. This is what you have to know now. I wish I knew this back then. And I know you answered me that already, but now I'm talking from the perspective of someone that acted, directed, produced, writing. You done the whole shebang. So this is not for you, but this is
Um,
for someone that is gonna go in the first for the first time.
um, I'd say like trust your instincts as an artist, because everybody's going to have an opinion, and a lot of them are going to be different. And for a writer, or a director, it's good to be able to take notes and take the ones that are good for your vision and ignore the ones that are not your vision, that want to change it, because fundamentally it's your story and you have control. And um yeah, so trust, I think trust your instincts is a really big one. Also, as an actor as well, like, I think bold choices are rewarded, and I think trust your instincts.
So you mentioned that you just wrapped up Time's Up, which is a new movie that's coming
Hmm.
up. I think it's coming out this year, right?
I think it's
And
coming out next year.
next
Next
year.
year.
Okay, okay.
Uh-huh.
So I was watching the some of the pictures that already came out, and I love the
Hmm.
poster, and it seems like it's very in the same vein of the movies that have come. I'm loving this new horror wave that is coming, like Freaky, we talk about already or not, BHS, um, Little Evil Thing. I love that movie. All the segments creep me out because usually when you watch a movie with segments or that kind of, there's only one or two, but that movie creeped me out and I loved it. And
Oh wow,
this
really?
new wave of horror, I'm loving it, and this looks to be in the same vein. Also, it has like a who's who of horror. Like all of these guys, and I mean, they're from VHS. They're from, of course, You Are in there, and Ready or Not, and all that. And there's someone from Sleepaway Camp that was amazing. I know I'm
There's
not gonna
two
get you in
people.
trouble
There's
from
two
Sleepaway
people.
Camp. Oh, really?
Hmm. Yeah,
Oh,
Felissa Rose is in it.
yeah. So I'm putting some of the image right now that has been already out on the press, and
Hmm.
I'm liking what I'm seeing. Is there something you can tell us a little bit that without getting you in trouble? I don't want to get you in trouble. Is there something we can tell us about it?
Yeah, yeah. So this is a real whodunit. Um, it's gonna be like it's gonna be a wild ride. Like, it's a slasher, and I think it's going to be very good. Like, when I read the script, I was just like, I'd watch this movie. I would go to the theater to watch this movie. It's very violent and gory and bloody, and just fun thing to follow. Like, it's a mystery as well.
It has been a really hard year for actors, right? For the industry in general because of COVID. And what do you feel that the industry has learned, or at least you? What have you learned as an actor, of someone in the industry, actor, director, from this last year of COVID, of this huge challenge that the industry has been going on?
Um, what have I learned? Well, I not just within the industry, but just within the world. I think it has fundamentally changed for generations and generations until we've all forgotten it and we're all dead. I think that I'm always going to be more careful now with when I touch my face, when I go out, who I'm in contact with. I'm really pretty good at isolation. Like, I miss my friends, but I think I'd make a really good hermit. I really do. I could just go in the woods and have a garden and, not completely lose my mind. But so I've discovered that about myself too. Yeah, yeah. I don't know. Yeah, just the world generally, not just the industry. I think has changed.
But everything you said
That's all I
just
have to say.
no, that's okay because everything you just said it sounds like it's ripe for now a new wave of creativity that's gonna come. From a world that has to be so careful of others. That sounds like a something ripe for new stories to tell. So Hannah, thank you very much. It has been amazing talking to you. I was scared because I would have been too Star Trek, but you made it easy to talk to you, so I appreciate that.
Yeah.
Do you what how can people like see your works? I know you have a web page, hannahfeirman.com. Uh,
Yeah.
what's your Instagram and your Twitter that people fans might want to go and see what your next job's
Yeah.
gonna be?
My Instagram is Hannah Feirman. That's my handle, and my Twitter is Hannah Rose Firm. Because I think I made one a long time ago and then forgot my password, so I had to make another one. And then Facebook, I'm Hannah Feirman on Facebook as well. Yeah, but check out my website. It's just getting redone, and I'm really proud of it. It looks so good.
Yeah. Yeah, and I like that. And whoever's working at that website, tell them thank you from my part because I needed to get some stills and pictures for your movie, and it was like a one shop place. So thank you very much to
I will
whoever
tell
made
him.
Hannah.
I will tell him.
Yes.
He's great. He's my buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Well, thank you so much, George. This is
Thank
this has
you.
been this has been fun. This has made my day.
Thank you. I'm glad. I'm happy to hear that. Thank you again. Have a lot of success, a lot of fun, and I'll gonna watch Time Stop definitely, and that by midnight, and Creep Show. Yeah.
Yeah.
All
Do
right. So take care and
it.
thank you very much.
You too.
All
Bye.
right. Bye.